week, and I'm actually pretty stoked for that.
There's no what?
New anime.
Oh, new anime?
Well, yeah, because they're releasing the anime adaptation of Fire Force, which hopefully will be better than the manga, or at least make sense a bit more to me. Second season is around to pick up Girls in a Dungeon, which I'm pretty stoked for. Continue on with
backwards.
with the series.
I wasn't sure how you set it up.
It says the word back on the back.
Dr. Stone, which seems kind of interesting too, and that was a manga on Viz Media.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a shonen. The whole concept or idea is like suddenly, for whatever reason, like really bright light, like if anyone's in the sunlight, they just got turned to stone. And then like you follow this guy who just wakes up like 1,000+ years after this incident in the world, and it's just fucking just like decimated, like just very Stone Age, back to like the basics of life in the world and everything like that. And he like finds a friend who's been like awake for like a year, and they're kind of just like figuring out like how do we wake everyone else up. So,
interesting. I started reading a manga called Hajime no Ippo, and it's a boxing manga.
Yeah,
because I get into I get into these phases where I will.
Is it Ippo like IPPON or IPPO?
Ippo. So like IPPO.
Okay.
Ippo.
Ippo.
I was watching some people do a trivia thing, and that came up, and they're like, "What is this like?" It's like this means a point in what martial arts style?
Oh,
but it
boxing.
It was Ippon, so it was like a.
Oh, was it for boxing?
No, but it was still for martial arts. But it was like a.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a play on words for his name.
Yeah, possibly. But
yeah, I get into these phases, and right now I'm into boxing. So anytime I get into one of these phases, I go back and I start, or I find a manga about the thing that I'm into. I don't know why. It always gets me more motivated.
We should go back to Kenichi.
Eventually, yeah. Well, maybe not. I don't know, because like
that's boxing.
For me right now, it's boxing specifically.
Just read the chapters to have that guy.
But yeah, I like tried watching some MMA fights, and like they're cool. I'm not as into them for some reason. I don't know what it is. I think I feel for the guys more, because like in boxing, if someone gets knocked down, you're not allowed to touch them. But in MMA, if someone goes down, they just continue to beat the shit out of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I feel for you. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. How about you? You been reading? What are you consuming?
Media-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hard question.
I mean, it's probably mostly been a lot of podcasts recently for you.
Honestly, it's been a lot of podcasts, yeah. I recently canceled my Netflix subscription. And
bad move, man.
It's funny because it's one of those classic things. Like as soon as you get rid of it, you're like, man, I really want to watch shit that's on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Like there's a show called Agretzko that I really like.
Oh yeah,
I loved the first season, and then season 2 came out a week after I canceled my subscription, and I was like, no. it was just not a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like the majority of my consumption is via podcast. I think I've listened to maybe 60 hours in the past week or so.
Yeah, I've been getting sick of like all media lately.
All media?
Pretty much. Like I am starting to like when I have about a 30-minute drive to work, and sometimes I don't listen to anything. Like
you're getting to that age.
I don't think it's an age thing. I think I'm just like I'm running out of things that I'm interested in, so I will just sit in nothingness and wait for everything that I am interested in to pile back up, so I can start consuming again.
Well, no, that's where like I've been getting just bored of just some video games. I just like I'll sit there. I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. I have like hundreds of downloaded games, have a big pile of discs that I still haven't finished, and then I'm just sitting there and I'm like, one free game I'm playing, and then I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore, and then I just turn the TV off because I'm like, I just don't want to try and watch something. I don't feel like it, and then I'm like, well, I want to read manga. I just want to consume manga.
Yeah.
And then I look, and nothing's updated.
Mm-hmm.
And even worse, because I have that glitch with my app where it's just not updating consistently now, and I'm just like, fuck. Because I'm just sitting there like, pull down, reload, pull down, reload.
Yeah.
Pull down, yes, and, then I read it, and then I'm like going through. I'm like, well, I've seen that one around. Let's read that one, and then 5 minutes later, I've caught up out of 50 chapters, and I'm like, shit, that's another one on my pile of now 257 manga that I'm just like waiting. And well, it sucks because it's just like their consistency of people, because for whatever reason it's like they're once a month, and then a couple months go by after their once a month schedule, and like they don't release another one. Whether I guess their serialization gets done in, they're like, well, yeah, you didn't sell well.
Yeah.
We're not posting any more stuff. Or people who are translating it and reposting it and stuff like that probably are having issues or anything like that. So there's a lot of these issues where things aren't staying consistent, and it's kind of annoying because like I really enjoy all these ones that I'm reading.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position with games as well, where I bought Cooking Simulator recently, and I bought Car Mechanic Simulator, and I was like, these will be fun. They didn't last very long. I started playing Minecraft again. I always come back to Minecraft, and it's so weird. So I'm 28 now, and every person I meet on Minecraft, they're like, "How old are you?" 28. They're like, "Oh man, I want to be like that. I want to be old and still playing Minecraft." And I'm like,
"Oh,
cool guys."
Fuck you.
No, they're cool. Like some of the people I'm meeting they're like in their 20s. I don't care. I play whatever I want.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and I play a lot of Beat Saber too. I'm getting stupid good with that game. I'm on like Expert Plus, getting like S ranks and stuff.
So, if I get this new position that I just applied for,
you're gonna buy Beat Saber.
Am I gonna do a computer finally?
Maybe, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the the Oculus Quest.
Is that like the?
Is that what Dave was showing us?
Yeah, that's what Dave has.
So it's just like it works by itself?
Yeah, it works by itself, has everything internally. It kind of fucked in the idea that like for like Beat Saber you can't, without really hacking it, get custom songs on there. But
it has Beat Saber?
Yeah, it has Beat Saber on there.
How well does it run?
It runs really well. Actually, I think it's a lot of its like stuff is better than all the other ones, and it's like the screens that it has and a bunch of other stuff. But it uses its own internal memory, battery, and everything like that. It's just like all there. It doesn't have any like battery packs hanging on wires or anything like that. And then it still does the like you walk around, so it can still facilitate the.
Does it have like the lighthouses that you have to set up for it?
No, it is like anywhere, and I guess it's like a big thing now. Like people in the airports will be like, or like on their planes will be like sitting there in their chair with the Oculus thing on, and they'll just be going at it like playing a game.
Interesting.
And or like they'll load up all their movies on there.
How much is it?
About $500 for the whole thing.
It's a lot.
That is not.
No, that's not a lot compared to like what
my HTC Vive was $800. So $500 that's a huge discount.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing that now to see like how the quality is compared to the Vive.
I was like playing it, and it didn't seem any different from when I was using your guys's and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Well, there's a new.
Has a better refresh rate, I guess, too.
Yeah, there's a new Steam one. They're calling it the Index. And it's not made by HTC, so I think it's just called the Vive Index, and it's made just by Valve, and that has a better refresh rate. It has a better screens as well, but it does require a bigger CPU. So I have an i5 CPU, and it requires an i7 minimum. So if I wanted to get that, I'd have to get a new CPU. But it does have the new Knuckles controllers that are coming out with it as well. So you don't have to hold the controllers. You just strap them to your hands, and it detects your fingers independently. And that's going to be super cool. I'm excited for that. But luckily, those work on all of the previous versions of the HTC Vive as well. So I wouldn't have to upgrade that. So I'm pretty stoked for that controller.
I can finally say I'm the old man of the conversation. I've never used VR.
The old man,
God.
but you were
go to my house at some point and play.
Well, I'm the old man because everyone's like, this new high quality tech of VR, and it's doing all these cool things. With like,
you're the youngest person here, though.
This is my one moment.
This is your one moment.
This is my one moment to say I'm old.
It seems dumb. There's a couple games that will turn you around, though. I had a friend who he was like, I'm gonna wait until the next generation of VR comes out. He played my Vive once, and he bought it the next day.
Well, I will admit there's this one game that's piqued my interest. I think it's called Sword and Shield. It's like a medieval battle simulator. I've seen so many cool GIFs and videos with that thing. I'm like, this is something I'd be into.
I think the best one is Beat Saber. I think that's the best VR game out there.
Is it?
It's perfect. Like, it gives you the experience of being in VR. It doesn't give you motion sickness, and it has really good action, and it's incredibly intuitive. I think it's the perfect game for somebody who's never played VR to check it out and experience what VR is like.
Well, and then also right away with the community too, like instantly people started modding their own songs and stuff like that, and it was like super easy for the community to get into the game too. Like you don't really get those often where like Minecraft is one where you can do that, where people are making mods and packs and stuff, and like the game facilitates it and really helps
developers. For a developer to survive now, they need to support mods because it's gonna happen whether they want it to or not.
Yeah.
Even with like single player games, you need mod capabilities.
It infinitely creates replayability.
It does. One thing, Sekiro, that recently came out, and it's single player only, very linear game, and the developers, Drumsoft, they actually they found a mod page that somebody had made, and they're like, we support this mod page. If you're going to do anything, go to this place because we approve of this kind of platform. And they have just a plethora of mods for the single player game.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate that, even if I can't contribute or participate in that because it's PC only. Damn PC master race. But regardless, yeah, it's super cool. Super cool.
I don't know. I don't think of like PC master race, but like PC Big Brother.
PC.
Not in like the government way, but like PC is like it's the big brother. It's like the cooler one. Like he's done all the shit already. He's experienced in it. He's like, hey guys, I will lead you through this good time of, and they'll help facilitate you through all the drugs and shit you want to try and stuff. And like, so I think a PC is like the big brother, and like the consoles are kind of like the newer ones and stuff like coming in. They're like,
I like that analogy. They also shit on the little brother constantly.
Yeah, they shit on the little brother constantly, and the little brother's like, well, shit on the big brother for like shit it does, but it's like
it's kind of funny that you put it that way, because like console gaming was more popular initially. Like PC gaming was not a thing until after console gaming.
Yeah,
but this is kind of ironic. But
okay. So even worse, better. It's like it's the big brother who's like super nerdy and stuff, and like he just was at that time like nerds weren't cool, and then you had the younger, cooler ones that like younger brothers and sisters who were like into sports, so they were the cool ones. And it wasn't until later that he got a job, got his own apartment and stuff like that, and then like kind of became a bit cooler and stuff like that because society thought it was cool.
So he's the me of technology to my little sisters.
Yeah, whereas like the me for my like cousin and stuff like that, where my cousin's like, she even texted me that, she's like, how's everyone doing? What are you guys up to? And then she's like, I want to have a deep conversation about video games and downloadable content, all this other stuff. And I was just like, all right, cool, let's do this. That's awesome. And she was like super stoked to actually have that. She's like, I am so
I think there's a couple of console games or games on console that support mods. I think Skyrim on the Xbox supports
Skyrim
mods.
It does.
Yep. Yeah.
All of the Bethesda
and PS4.
But do they have to be like? Are they regulated in any way?
They are. So it goes through your filtering system. So first of all, Skyrim as an example, Bethesda set up this thing called the Creation Club, where if you want a Skyrim mod, you kind of have to go through their system.
Yeah.
So they curate it for like consoles specifically. Like you can't get like nudity mods or
because this is
America. But at the same time, you can get other things like blood enhancement things. I think the stipulation with the console is, well, for Bethesda games, you're only allowed 2 gigabytes of total space for the mods.
Oh, interesting. That's not much.
It's not much, but surprisingly, you can put a lot of mods on there when each mod is like 500 megabytes or whatever.
Limitations are kind of cool with stuff like that because it actually kind of facilitates creativity.
It is. Also, at the same time, you have a set amount of power in your console. You can't just go to PC Part Picker and get a new thing for your computer so you can run 50 more mods,
Right.
So I can feel it. If I put too many mods on Skyrim, the game chugs.
Yeah.
And it's not fun when the game chugs that hard. But yeah, no, it's cool. Like they have the texture replacement for the dragons to turn them into Thomas the Tank Engine.
I like the texture pack that they do for what's his name?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Yes, Randy Savage.
For the dragon.
I love that one.
And the Death Claws too.
Yeah, the Death Claws.
I love that because
I haven't seen that
the
one.
Death Claws have a grab attack. It is like, come here, brother.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we haven't really introduced ourselves yet. We've just kind of been going off on a rant of many different things. So a couple things kind of interjected where I have a topic that I want us to talk about. But first, we should introduce ourselves. So I'm Ken.
I'm Dominic.
And I'm Dylan.
So I really think we should probably go about and kind of, I guess, say something a little bit minor on even why we're doing this, like what makes us any expert to kind of go on a podcast. Why are we even doing this type of thing?
Are we experts?
No, definitely not. I'm trying to. That is one of my goals and something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, okay. When it comes to video games, I feel like you and I, Kenny, have pretty good experience considering we went to school to develop video games.
Right.
And we've been critically analyzing games for a good portion of our lives.
Right.
So we at least have that going for us.
I'm just trying to fill the empty void.
Hey, you were good at role-playing games, and I don't have any of that. That's like...
Everyone
that's
has
not
their
my thing.
fix.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I guess another thing is, first and foremost, this is NogCast.
NogCast.
This is episode 1. The official first episode of NogCast.
NogCast for not nerds, otakus, and geeks alike. Which one we are, I don't know yet. I'm pretty sure everyone has decided which one I am. And it's just a battle of who wants to be which one for you guys.
The nerd and geek.
I'll kill you.
I'm otaku.
I'll kill you. For which, though?
I'm okay with leaving it kind of ambiguous.
I don't care, personally.
Cool.
Well, it's like all three just mean the same thing, really.
Essentially.
In the general, yeah, I could say all have definitions, their own things. Like otaku is definitely seen as like a more of a negative thing in Japan.
In Japan, yes.
Yeah. Versus like here.
It really depends on, like, the culture you're interacting with.
Right. But it's like with things like I've seen, it's like, oh, it's like, oh, you're a military otaku. And it's like, that's just like here. It's like, oh, you're a golf nerd or a sports nerd. It's like, it doesn't have to be towards.
It's
like,
kind of cool. It's kind of cool in like it's kind of like part of popular culture now. If you're really into something, to call yourself a geek of that thing. Like I've heard of people talk about themselves being football geeks or football nerds.
Yeah, nerds, video games, anime, manga. We got D&D. We have
culture.
Yeah, just pop culture in general.
Comic books,
movies,
bitching about life.
music.
Life is going to be a thing.
Hobbies.
For sure. Hobbies. I have lots of hobbies. That's my thing. My big thing is I'm always.
Well, yeah,
I'm
your
always
hobby
trying
is
something
hobbies.
New. Yeah, my hobby is collecting hobbies.
You just like learn something enough to where you have some knowledge in a conversation where you can like.
I just have to be better than the average person at every one little thing, and that's good enough for me. I don't have to be an expert in anything.
I've always heard that's the definition of wisdom, is having a small amount of knowledge in a vast array of different things.
Good. I'm on my way.
Well, I guess it's like also then like you go like what Socrates with the idea of like you're like truly wise when you've realized you know nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But well, no, I mean Socrates I thought was really funny just because like I think my favorite thing was there's two favorite moments I have of like stories of him, which is one is the story of his whole court session where it's like I don't even know the real percentage, but it was like around like 70% of people were like he's guilty of being a sophist, which is someone who just is like, here, pay me money and I'll teach you how to win arguments. Not teach you how to take the knowledge you have and argue with it, but just how to argue with someone until you win, and like with no knowledge of anything.
Yeah, not trying to find the truth, just trying to win.
Yeah, just trying to win. And so it's like a lot of sophists, people were hating them. And
lawyers.
Like, yeah, no, I mean that's a big thing. It's like a lot of like tactics that lawyers use are very sophist in their nature, but. So 70% of people are like, he's guilty. So that means 30% of people are like, he's not guilty. The next thing was, should he die or like what should his punishment be? By the end of his next portion of like his conversation with them, 100% of the people who were there, that means the 30% of people who said he wasn't guilty, 100% of everybody said he should die. Like, he somehow pissed off 30% of people who thought he was guilty. They're like, nah, fuck this guy. We're just kill him. Kill him. I think, like, the next thing was, like, this argument he had with a guy who was, like, I always imagined, like, a big, buff, like, blonde-haired Greek, guy. Like, kind of like a football player, like, just, like, I think of Futurama, really, I guess, when they go...
Oh, God. What was that character's name? I know who you're talking about.
Zach Brannigan.
Zach Brannigan.
No, not Zach Brannigan. I'm thinking, like, when they go to the Da Vinci's planet.
Oh,
and there's that one nerd, they're making fun of Da Vinci, and he's like, I will kill you. I'm not going to try and do a present. He's like, I'm going to kill you all. So I think of that guy when it is. So he's, like, having this argument with Socrates, and Socrates is, like, this, like, kind of short, kind of chubby, like, pug eyes, not a beautiful specimen of humanity, like, not Da Vinci's drawing. And so he's having this argument with him, and he's like, well, what do you think, like, what makes something beautiful? And the guy's like, well, when something, like, does its job perfectly, like, to 100% perfectly, And he's like, well, you don't call me beautiful because of, like, these bug eyes that kind of stick out further, but wouldn't you say that if they stick out further, then that means I can see a lot more, that my eyes then are more beautiful than anyone else's? They facilitate their need a lot more, and a lot of his other stuff. He didn't win the argument because everyone's like, no, you're still ugly as fuck. But I just loved his argument because he's just, like, turning these words on these people, and they're like, no. But, like, it was just like, he was just, like, trying to let them know, like, you think you know what beauty is, but based on your definition, I was able to turn that around and, prove to you, or maybe not to you, but just prove that, like, what you thought, like, you're going to go against, meaning that you didn't know really what it was.
Yeah, it's really common in philosophy about people getting stuck on definitions, because if you have no common ground with definitions, there's no way to move the conversation forward.
Yeah, semantics that's a huge issue.
It is, but it's infuriating to listen to people argue about semantics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's how a lot of people like to change arguments. They're like, oh, this is what you meant by this thing. I was just talking about this other way of thinking about this. But yeah, it happens.
Well, in my case, I was blue, so this changes the whole discussion already.
So what's our topic today?
So
yes, you said you had a topic.
Yeah, so I have a topic for today.
I also have a single topic.
Not a topic, but I have.
Well, this is a topic.
If there's too much dead air.
This is really a topic that's for you and me, Dominic, with Dylan as our extra for it. So, I mean, we've known each other since college, and we've come up with tons of ideas, sat in cars, been like, if I had $1 million, this, that, like, what would a thing be? And, we've had a lot of ideas of, like, what we would do, but we've also, like, started a couple and tried to go further with things, and they have all failed.
Podcast, for instance.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like as simple as, like, webtoon manhwa.
That one didn't fail. Well, okay, I guess we failed.
Okay, yeah. Well, and this is a general fail. Like, this is general fail.
Okay.
YouTube.
It ended at some point.
Yeah, YouTube channel.
The project did not fail. The people in charge of the project failed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, YouTube channel, video game, even in general. Like, we've had a lot of different things where we've either finished a project and we never came up with a second one. We finished a bunch of videos and never kept continuing. We did a lot of chapters but fell through. We started trying to do something and not, like... I guess the big question is, what makes this, do you think, going to be any different from those? But also, like, in a general speaking, like, for anyone else who's speaking, like, who are also struggling with these same things, like, what are the things that they can think about and kind of work through that might help them kind of get past that into a more secure project? And so, like I said, I want to facilitate Dylan into this, too, and bring him into this, because he's been... DMing.
He's the changing factor.
Well, he's the changing factor, but he's also been DMing our D&D sessions for how long now?
That's a good question.
It's been about 7 months.
7 to 8 months.
Yeah.
We started last September, so...
And this is, like, almost consistently now, every other weekend, every other Saturday, we get about 8 to 9 people, with a couple of people in and out because people who have lives, and stuff like that. But, we have to go visit the family, my wife's family and stuff like that. I'm sick. different things like that. Life comes about, but this has been like a successful thing where he prepares every weekend. Every 2 weeks he's getting things ready, and he's actually like working on all this stuff. He's always thinking about it, and people are coming to this, and so
I get it. He's better than me. I get it, Kenny.
no, but it's just like it's the thing is like, and this is a question that you can kind of chime in and stuff like. I want to see like where did we fail in those things, like, and we can go through each of those projects and kind of things like because they're all a little bit different. I think they all failed in different ways for different reasons, and I think we can then look upon that and kind of then dissect them and feel like anyone else who are in these situations, like what are suggestions to get past those.
So okay, where I want to start with this is with our most successful project, which was our short webcomic. We literally only did 3 chapters of this webcomic, but it was a lot of work.
Is that the one with the zombies?
It is.
Yeah.
The one with the
So LIAZA, living in a zombie apocalypse.
Life in a zombie
apocalypse. Sorry.
It was hosted on Webtoon. We only had 3 chapters, but we managed to get 80 followers, over 80 followers on these chapters. We had thousands of views. So that was pretty good. That was probably the most successful project we had done. And the reason I think we did the best on that one is I put the least work on myself on that one. And I think that's what my major failure is for a lot of these things, is it ends up failing on me because I put a lot of the work on myself.
Right. Well, yeah, like a lot of it then comes down to one person. Like this person is the pin in it, and if this pin is gone, like the whole thing crumbles.
Right. And then a lot of the time that is me because I deliberately put a lot of work on myself because I don't want to bother other people. Another thing that we had split up with a pretty good amount of work is our Let's Play channel. And I think the main failure of that one was not necessarily us, our motivation. We made something like nearly 80 videos.
Okay.
It was like 70 something videos. And they weren't very successful. But I think the main reason there is we didn't advertise enough. I was kind of afraid to advertise to my family, where if I did, I think it would have been a little bit more successful as if we advertised to people who we knew. I kind of wanted to like... I didn't want anyone I knew to know I was making this channel.
Oh, I talked the shit out of people at work. That literally,
yeah, I know you did.
That got me a position at my job. That got me a slight promotion upward because I had told people that I was doing this.
Oh, yeah, the video editing stuff. So
No, not even that. What it was I was telling the guy who managed us at the company through our contract company. He managed us in this other company where I was working at. And I was telling him about this, and then he came up to me, and just recently I had just been in a position where I was doing night shifts. And so he was like, hey, Kenny, you did night shifts? I have a position to do night shifts, like a thing that we want to do. We need to get someone in that. But I also know that you've been doing videos on gaming and stuff like that. So I think you could really help out in teaching. Little did I didn't tell him at all that, oh, you think these are instructional videos that I'm doing, and not me just... singing. To be fair,
one of them was an instructional video.
One of them was for what,
Black Desert. It was the day Black Desert came out. We made an instructional video on how to play it on console.
Because this is a game that like way back in college we had heard about, and like it was a South.
We waited for like 3 or 4 years for that game to come out,
and we were like, fuck yeah! So I bought it, we played it, and we were doing all this instructional video. We were like going through, and then it just like stopped, and then
we played it for 1 day and literally never again.
Yeah, and it's just like my computer was shit, and there's a bunch of other stuff that came about with it. But that was like the only instructional. But everything else was just like,
oh yeah, it wasn't on console. It was with the controller.
With the controller on my PC. But it was like I was like, oh yeah, you haven't watched the ones where I just like were randomly singing Mulan or trying to figure out what's the beginning opening to the X-Men.
But I actually, speaking of that, I thought about that yesterday because Luli and I started watching X-Men Evolution.
Right.
So I like that. It took me back. It's just funny that you mentioned
Evolution.
X-Men Evolution.
What's Evolution?
What do you mean?
Like X-Men Evolution. What is that?
It's an animated series.
Oh.
It is awesome.
I thought you were talking about some of the live action movies.
Like, have you ever seen like the intro thing where it's like they're all coming in and like it has their names and it's like themed towards them?
Yeah.
As they're coming, that's the one.
Oh.
It is so good. It is such a good series. But anyway, back to the success
that one failed
versus failure. That one I feel like that wasn't necessarily a failure on us. I think we were just in a bad position to do it because we tried really hard. I was working on 3 videos a day, so we would record on the weekends. I would record with Kenny for 3 hours on Saturdays. I would record with my other friend Abby for an hour to 2 hours on Sundays, and then Kenny would edit the episodes that we had done, and then I would edit any like side episodes. Like if I did someone with another person that wasn't part of the main 3-person group, me, Kenny, and Abby, I would edit those, and I would also edit the other videos with me and Abby.
Well, and then we had what your now current wife at the time, girlfriend, doing like the intro drawings and art and stuff.
Right, those are pretty quick though.
So, but I mean, like that one was better than the webtoon because that one, it wasn't all on you. Like content was still able to get out without you.
Yes, I
I could do videos.
Technically, yes.
I facilitated.
Sort of. Well, you never did a video without me, I don't think.
I could edit the videos and stuff like that. Like
yes,
the recording of the things and doing that stuff, like I don't think is the issue. It was like getting the work done, and I think that's where a lot of people like have a hard time. They don't realize that when you listen to podcasts or you see people doing comics or YouTube videos, they don't look at the back end stuff that they do, and I think that's always like that.
Yeah.
It's
I think
the behind the curtains, like you don't see it and you don't think about it, you don't realize it, and you don't.
Sorry, there's a spider on the roof.
No.
Let him
Anyway, sorry. And we're back.
Okay, so Nate, you wanted more to say.
Yeah, we're living failures.
Yes, we're living failures.
Well, we're living failures. You're
you haven't
weird
failed
success.
Yet. Yes, your success so far.
I credit my success with good project management and threatening people.
Good. Okay, so I think the comic book was more successful with less work. We did a ton of work on the YouTube channel, and it was split, which was much better. But again, it comes down to me putting too much work on myself because I was editing 3 videos a day. The comic book, I was also, I think the fact that I had you relying on me, and like we both had the same goal. We wanted the same thing out of the comic book. We were trying to win a competition at the time.
Then we realized like we weren't gonna fucking win.
It was like
We did way better than I expected.
Better than we expected. Not as good as what was there.
No.
Well, the thing was funny is like we were looking at like what we thought was our competition, and then we eventually realized what it was. We're like, oh, and then like
we
the
saw
drive,
our actual competition.
The drive plummeted then, but then it was just like, well, let's keep going. I think we did one more chapter after that, and then it ended. But
didn't you end it with the girls turning into zombies?
No,
we never ended it. We thought that would be funny.
We ended it on a big cliffhanger, actually.
Well, big first
You're a
slice of
terrible
life.
person.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well, people were just like, "Oh, I can't wait for the next episode," and they would keep posting this
man.
after like months and months
Every
and
once
months
in a
after we had
while-
not posted, and
Every
we're
once
like,
in a while, yeah, I get someone that's like, "Man, I can't wait for the next one," and I'm like, "It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. We're working on something else right now." But yeah, I think the fact that the way we split the work is like I couldn't do it by myself. You couldn't do it by yourself. You had an ability to do something that I just did not possess, which was coloring.
right.
Coloring, line finishing, and stuff like that. I cannot do that.
Since I haven't admitted I'm colorblind and you have, so
I can tell you're better at coloring than I am.
no, it's just I feel like that's everybody. It's like either you've admitted you're colorblind or you haven't yet. And that's the two worlds. It's not like, oh, a certain percentage of men are colorblind. It's like, no, it's either you're colorblind or you haven't admitted you're colorblind yet.
That's too silly. But anyway,
That's hilarious.
you were relying on me, so I had to get the work done. And that was one thing that pushed me to do it a lot. So I was working on about 3 pages a day. I also dedicated myself. I was like, between this time and this time, I will work for 1 hour, and I'm not allowed to do anything else. I have to get this done before I start something else. So I'm like, I'm slowly getting better at doing and finishing projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I didn't do. Like once I got the pages from you, I spent no time doing anything else.
Yeah.
I got home from work. I hooked my laptop up to my TV, pulled up my chair in front of my TV, and then just sat there. And then my roommates just did other stuff around me, and they'd watch me do it. I had like yet again other artsy roommates and stuff at the time, so they were fine with just like watching. I'd be like, "Hey, how does this look? How does this look?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool" and stuff. So it really helped. But like, yeah, I spent no extra time. So it was like, I think it was the same thing as like after getting your work and seeing where it was and seeing what you put into it, I wanted to then add to that creativity and take it to that next level with like the coloring and stuff like that.
Your coloring made my art look so much better. It still looks awful, but it
Right.
made my art look so much better than it actually was.
There's only two things that I'm proud of the things I did was the sky for the one chapter,
Yeah, the rainy episode.
and then the dreamy sequence I did to making it like when she
Yeah.
was having her memory, and how I did that. I look at that, I'm like, that is, I could not have done that any more perfect for how I envisioned it. Like I could have done other things, like other things
Yeah.
could have done, like someone else could have done it way better, but for my just attempting, just taking a paintbrush and just like doing it a couple times, and how it ended up was like, for me, just primo perfect on that.
Yeah.
For me, out of 36 panels, there's only one panel that's acceptable to me, and that is the final panel on the first chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Acceptable.
acceptable. Yes.
Okay.
Not good, but I can look at that and be like, I will let other people see this.
That's so interesting to me. Because I'm kind of the same way too, where I'm a little too hard on myself when it comes to critiquing work and stuff. Like the battle map that we had for D&D today, I was like every like inch by inch, because I gridded out first, and they're square inch grids, and like so I can kind of go like, oh, I have 28 inches left to color or whatever, and per like inch by inch I'm like, this dog shit. But you kind of look at the big thing, it's like, okay, I can dig that.
Yeah.
And then every time I put it down in front of you guys, like, oh my god, this is a great map. I'm like, oh, you guys recognize the 18 hours I put into this.
Well, I mean, the way that it's done is a lot better than like someone who just buys grid paper and then draws really shit.
Here's a squiggly line. Okay, you guys are in a cave.
Yeah,
Use your
I mean,
imagination.
yeah, like, I mean, you've gotten better, and you've hit a like a style that you want, and you keep experimenting and trying to push it forward in the experience of like how the maps are gonna be. And I mean, it's the most you can really do without like going out and buying like full, 3D.
If I won the lottery, I would buy so much fucking Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
Like Legos for your map, because they just have squares and you put the squares together and it's like, oh my god, I have this beautiful tavern, and everything's like hand painted and carved and like, oh, so good. But so on the topic that you guys are talking about, I wanted to pop a question. What do you guys think the difference between a career and an invocation is?
What do you mean by invocation?
Like a hobby you do outside of work because you love it. Because you're talking about projects that have had kind of sunk, and I'm wondering is like, have you ever had a project that you enjoyed doing all the extra back-end work on? Like you would have done that regardless of if you actually had to push out a final product?
Nope.
Nope.
No, not necessarily true. So this goes back to me being very like I like things being done a particular way, and it's very difficult for me to let people help me do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that I would do are more like creating things. I'm a maker, I would say.
Like crafty
Crafting,
things.
like woodworking, welding, working with fabrics, things like that. Like Adam Savage. That is what I want to do. I want to be Adam Savage, and that is something I will do regardless of pay. And if I could make that a career, I've reached it. That is the thing. Everything else, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I wanted out of the things I was doing. I think I just wanted like a side income, basically.
I get that.
The comic book was an easy one because we wanted to win that competition.
Yeah.
But we also do have a lot of things that we enjoy coming up with ideas for comics.
Yeah.
And so like
I'm sitting on 2 now, and it's annoying because I don't have anyone to do art. I don't have anyone to help me out with the story, really. To
I can feel that.
I'm
like,
sitting on
like,
one as well.
like
That's
really
weird.
help me out with the story and sit down and like have a team, and like I know all the things I need from it, and I have all these ideas, and I just need people to just do the stuff for me. Like I mean, not just like, here's an idea, now do it and get me an end product. Like I have like a whole structure, especially like the first one that I did. I have thought so much of like the world, the characters, the plots, like how I want the story to go and stuff like that. I just need that person to fill in like the dialogue and a lot more other things, like rework character names and other things like that. I need someone to deal with, like...
So, like, things that you can't really accomplish yourself.
Yeah, like, I know I am shit at every single one of those, but the one thing I pride myself on is just coming up with random ideas and keep working on them until they form into something. You know, it's kind of like that. You ever see the videos when it got really popular? Some people would buy just a shit ton of aluminum foil for a fucking reason, put it into a ball, and they would keep putting it into a ball until it was a spherical ball, and they do all these processes until it was a perfect, like, metal ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel like a lot of my ideas start off, is like, I just have a shit ton of aluminum foil, and I'm just crunching it into a ball form, and I keep doing that, and then eventually until it's this nice, perfect little round metal ball. And that's...
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Really? No, it was like a whole...
It was a huge thing.
It was a huge thing for like a month.
Yeah, like you make like a little mirror ball out of aluminum foil.
I mean, I polished like gum wrappers that had aluminum foil on them.
It's like that, but you just you start off with an entire roll of aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And you keep taking it, you keep
end with a ball.
you keep
You have to
smashing
hit
it,
it.
and then it gets to a point to where like you're sanding it down, and then you're oiling it up and shining it down and stuff like
Polishing it,
that,
yeah.
and it's like a
That's a cool analogy, though. I do like that. Though.
So
And then that's like another thing. I'm good.
I talk about you a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that. And I talk about how your ideas are insane.
Oh yeah.
But I also talk about how I'm good at reining in those ideas into something practical.
Well,
So I think that's why, like, our comic, even though the art was bad, our comic was as successful as it was because you had the ridiculous ideas and I reined it in, and I can do dialogue. I think we have a project coming up soon that is potentially good.
right. But yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. For me, I guess, in that thing where like you're like, I don't really think like for the projects that I want to do, I'm not thinking of the end income that would come from that. Like, I would love to just have a job that then allowed me to just do whatever else I wanted. Like, whatever my job has to be, I don't give two shits about it. I don't care how bad it is, whatever. Like, that's a whole... I have this idea of, like, work is work and home is home. And whatever I have to do at work, like, that's what I have to do. I'm not thinking of it as, like, a horrible place I have to go to, like, in the movies where, like, they go to the office, they have to sit in a cubicle and stuff like that. And, like, I'm stuck at work, and this is a horrible life. And at the end of the movie, like, they become a millionaire, they can do whatever they want. Like, I don't care. Like, if I have to just slowly move through a company up and I just keep getting paid more and more, it's like, even if it's not the most, like, invigorating thing ever, like, I'll get it done just to get that paycheck at the end of the week. Like, I won't slack off. I'll, like, actually, like, do as much as I possibly can for the projects that I'm doing. You know, if the company gives me something to do, I'll do it, no matter how menial or boring it is, to get that paycheck, and I'll do all that. But then when I like do a project like that, is I'm not thinking about the money or the income. I just want to produce something to get my ideas out there, and then hopefully someone else will enjoy it the way that I enjoy the same type of content I'm into. So like with mangas, like I'm gonna have 2 manga ideas. I really want to get those done. I wish I had the people for them, because I would love for these, because I know these are different ideas that I'm hoping that someone else out there will read and then be like, I want to do something like this. Like, I want to have that same impact. And I feel like a lot of, you know, mangaka.
Mangaka. It's a one who is a manga artist.
Yeah.
That's
A
I
manga
love that
author.
term, mangaka.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
so
it's Japanese for manga creator.
And so it's like, I imagine like a lot of those people are doing that same thing. They were inspired by someone else's work, and then they wanted to get their ideas out there and are hoping to inspire someone else too. And kind of keep this ball of creativity going for the future, you know? And it's like, I'm like, it would be cool if like an anime gets created, or a video game, or it gets, you know, I get invited to an anime convention or something like that. Like, that'd be cool. But I mean, if I just get someone to say, hey, I really like this chapter, you know, I think that would just be just as good for me. You know, I would enjoy that as more, and that's all I really want. I just want to get it out there. But I think my issue is just I don't have the talent, and I have to really rely on other people or other things to get it out there, so it just doesn't get out there. And I mean, I've tried drawing. I have a drawing tablet. I've worked on it. I just am not good at that, and I know I'm not. I'll still try my best, but I know where my limits are.
I can relate to that so much, because I view myself as a content consumer that does not produce a lot, So that's why I put so much energy into the D&D campaign, where I'm like, this is the one thing I'd be creative of, the one thing I can be creative for and have people appreciate that. And like you said, like even with like bigger projects, I personally don't think it's good to approach something with the idea of like, I'm gonna make so much money, I'm gonna change the world, I'm gonna inspire, or I'm gonna like get so much fame and notoriety that I get invited to all of these special events or whatever, and turns into like a spin-off series and a sitcom and all that other jazz or whatever. You know?
Everyone has dreams though. Anytime no matter how small a project is that you start, you will always dream about how big it's going to be.
I think those dreams are good because it does kind of like, it gets you hyped up.
It's human nature, absolutely. You want to think about like the biggest, most grand possibility.
Do you ever imagine people praising you?
Like, I get really uncomfortable about that, actually.
I do that, and I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Like, I always imagine like someone I know at work or something, they're like, hey, you did a really awesome job on this. You're so cool. And I'm like, I'm a fucking loser. Goddamn. Why am I imagining this?
But yeah, so like, to what you were saying, I think it is kind of getting philosophical, but I think as humans, all we have are like stories and art and things we can pass on to other people and hopefully give them a message or impression in their lives in some way. And I feel like a lot of people just consume that nonstop for their entire life. And if I can find something I'm passionate about and then put that out in the world, and even if like a handful of people are like, oh yeah, I really like this was nice, it's like, that's enough for me, man.
Yeah.
But that's kind of hard because like when you start a project and you don't feel like it's going anywhere, you lose motivation halfway through, that's when you quit, you know.
It is very
and I can really sympathize because like there's a few things I've done in my life where I go like 95% of the way there and I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm done, I'm not doing it anymore.
So do you want to know what my manga list is right now? I'll let you each have one guess.
Manga list?
Yeah, so this is my current list that I am reading right now, like going into like being a consumer of content and not really putting it out there, like I guess in the manga sense of where I'm at. Like
before that, I have one quick thing to say about like someone appreciating your work like face to face. I get that only a couple times a year, and it's when I cosplay. And
yeah, you were
absolutely
so happy.
Love it. I love dressing up, and someone likes the way I look so much that they want to take a picture of me.
So
I've cosplayed a couple times and have gotten pictures with people, and it is such a good feeling.
We recently went to Denver Pop Culture Con, cough cough, Comic-Con. But I loved your cosplay as Miles Morales, and I still say one of my most memorable moments from the con is on our first day. We got there and we were going through all the art exhibits, and we were there for maybe an hour and a half, only moved 50 feet in one direction. But we got there, and there was this dad holding a little baby toddler, and the dad's looking in the opposite direction. The toddler's over his shoulder, and he looks at you, and he does that toddler thing where he's just grasping his hands like he's trying to acknowledge you, and you do this quick little Spider-Man pose, and the kid's all like, ah! That was the most gratifying thing of the entire con.
It is, yeah. It's kind of indescribable. It's just such a good feeling. Mm-hmm. And it actually, that one in particular, just because I got so many pictures on that one, I got really inspired to do more cosplay, and that's something that's one thing that I will do whether I get paid or not, just because it is such a good feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, guesses.
237.
No.
That's really close to what I was thinking. I was thinking like 230 something, 230 plus.
You guys are still below.
By a lot or a little?
What would you think is a lot?
I would say if we're off by like 200, that would
be
a lot.
Personally,
that it's not a lot.
Me personally, okay. Like anything more than 5 is a lot.
That is a lot for you.
I'm just gonna say like 480.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip my number. It's not 230 anymore. It's 320.
Dominic's going closer, but he definitely went over. It's 298 right now.
298.
And that's like a sparkle of some completed ones. I always have a hard time getting rid of those. So it's probably
anime or manga.
Manga. Oh, anime. No, anime's
much higher.
Much higher. Give me a second.
Let me just put it this way: I've never met another human in my entire life that has watched more anime than Kenny.
You know what's crazy? He actually only started. Well,
it was the summer before college.
Yeah, like
when I started.
Okay, it's not as impressive now, but it's been like 8 years since he watched like his first anime. But yeah, even like 2 years into starting watching anime, he was already like double the number I had seen. But then again, I'm not well, at that time I kind of was a huge anime consumer. Right now, not so much. I'm more into 90s cartoons, 90s and early 2000s.
All right, what was your
cartoons.
previous number that you said that was like higher?
Like 480 something.
Okay.
See, it's kind of like drugs because you get somebody into the same drug as you, and then you watch them like go way too hard in the paint, and you're like, man, I should have never gotten you hooked on cocaine.
424 completed.
420.
Yeah, it's 424 completed. How
many hours is that?
162 days.
I don't know how he can physically achieve the amount of anime. Like, I don't know.
To be fair, you do a lot of multi-consuming, so...
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so...
You also read really fast.
Manga I read a lot fast. A lot of the anime you've been watching... So I used to record a lot of rewatches. I don't do that anymore because it's just... I do a lot of multi-consuming. So a lot of animes you've been seeing me...
Oh, yeah, this 420 is not rewatches. Those are...
At the beginning it was.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, I counted those because I would sit down and really rewatch those. And whenever I sit down and really rewatch them, I really record them. But I do multitask. But like, so a lot of like the ones this week, I think I've gotten through like 3 of them. They're like 12 episode series, so I can get through them fairly quickly.
So I think everyone knows who the otaku is.
No, that's why I'm like we've already known. But no, like I've already seen all those like 2 or 3 times already. Like
at least you're not like super awkward. You know what I mean? Like you're a pretty normal dude. Considering the level
that is my main thing. Like I'm still fairly awkward. I've definitely gone on the more awkward thing than I used to be.
You're in the acceptable level of awkward. Well, maybe actually I'm pretty awkward myself, so maybe I don't know.
Okay, I think I'm in the acceptable thing because yet again at work I can like.
That's true.
Function around lot of people and teams and stuff like that. And
there are more awkward people that we.
Oh yeah, there are some really like bad people. Like I can talk to like FTEs and devs and like I can get a lot further in talking with people, and if I really have to, I can also just not talk about any of this stuff. Like I don't really wear like anime merch,
and if you do, it's subtle.
Oh, if I do, it's like there's one shirt, and like that's the only shirt I really wear, and it's super fucking subtle.
Though it's hilarious walking by his desk and like the wallpapers are just like Gurlagon and like you have figures all over your desk.
So I have all the mid scenes from Gurren Lagann as my wallpaper.
Oh, nice.
For like when my screen's on sleep. So
that's cool.
It's just like every once in a while it's like Yoko Littner, and then it's just like Kamina, and so it's going through all these like the mid scenes, and all I think is when I'm looking at it, like row, fight the power.
Yeah. Right. It is interesting, but then again, like I don't know. It's weird. I feel like a lot of people hit a certain point and then they just get boring. They stop doing stuff, and I don't understand it. Like one of the things I hate to hear the most is when people are like, "Oh man, I miss hanging out with my friends on the weekends and playing video games." I'm like, "Why did you stop?"
No, yeah.
Was there a real reason for you to stop? Like, not for me. Well, I don't have kids, so maybe that's the main thing.
Kids ruin everything.
But yeah, like literally, Kenny and I hang out pretty much every weekend and play video games. We LAN party. Like, okay, one of my most successful posts on Reddit ever
was the LAN party.
Was a picture of one of our LAN parties. And I was like, "Oh, this is us every weekend." And one person was like, "Technically, this is you this one weekend." I'm like, "No, trust me, this is every weekend."
Yeah, it's like we had like 3 TVs up, all had Overwatch, and it's like that's a common thing for us. And I remember, high school. I didn't really do that with. I'd go over to a friend's house and they would have video games there, and we would play and we would do other stuff, and then that'd be it. You know, I'd try to invite people over. And I mean, I had friends I'd go hang out with, but after a while, when things didn't go anymore, it just stopped. And this is like one of those ones where it's just like, we just keep going. We don't talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We don't do a whole bunch of stuff, but we're fine with that. Like we've kind of
It's just what we do, yeah.
Well, my mom has a good saying where she says, "You're only as young as you want to be."
Yeah.
Which I really like that because my mom's, she's a baby boomer. very much a flower child, but she's a young soul. And yeah, I don't know. I appreciate that. Like, cause like even though she'll do quote unquote old lady things, she still has a lot of fun with it, and she's still very excited with those kind of things.
Yeah.
With the energy of somebody who's much younger.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like as long as you're doing stuff that you're passionate about, or not even passionate about, stuff that you're interested in, and you're having fun with it, why stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why let life get in the way of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's so weird when people are like, "Man, I miss playing my NES," and I'm like, "Why did you get rid of it?"
I threw it away. God.
Yeah, just don't do that.
God.
Just don't get rid of your video games, and you'll never miss them.
Shit.
Who would have known?
I have a PS2 memory card you can use.
I need a PS1.
PS1. Yeah.
PS1?
I need a PS1.
What do you have on your PS2 memory card?
I want to say Battlefront 2.
That's it?
Well, so I have Battlefront 2.
We can check.
Ratchet and
Kenny's
Clank.
got my... Kenny's... Oh, nice. That's a good one.
I loved Ratchet and Clank.
Did you play the remake?
It was a free game on
Not yet.
PS4.
Not yet.
People didn't like it, but it is a solid game.
Oh, I really enjoyed it.
I don't know why.
I don't.
people
I
didn't
get the
like it.
movie portions of it where they were taking it from the movie because it's supposed to be like
it's
following
this weird
the movie.
loop
But
because they made the remake for the movie, but the movie only came out because of the remake, and the
Yeah.
remake had to pay homage to the rest of the games coming before it. So they actually made the remake game good,
And
so
the
the
movie shit.
movie could be relatively
Yeah.
okay.
Well, if you come into that game in a vacuum, it is an awesome game.
Yes.
The only reason people don't like... Well, I'm talking about the remake that you haven't played yet.
Okay.
But the original, also very good game. Ratchet and Clank 2 is a little bit better than the first one, in my opinion. But that's
I
just...
played the shit out of Up Your Arsenal, which
Yeah.
was 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good too.
I
But anyway, if you come to the remake in a vacuum, it is an awesome game. It is very fun. It's only when you start comparing it to all these other things that it's bad. And I kind of hate when that's happened. Like when things have history, but in some cases you can enjoy something more if it doesn't have that history. Like I hate watching trailers for movies because I honestly think it makes the movie worse. Because you hear about like what everyone's saying about it.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit.
I've gone into movies where I'm like, this was great, and everyone's like, this is terrible. I'm like, whatever, I enjoyed it.
see, like, yeah, I think it's those things. Like, try not to have expectations anymore. Like, I'll watch trailers, I'll learn about it. I try not to have expectations, and if I'm like hearing that it's like it's going to be bad or all this other stuff, I'm like, I try to learn a bit more about it. So I guess one, going back to Otaku, god damn it, Alita Battle Angel.
It clearly consumes a large portion of your life. You're gonna have to go back to it every once in a while.
Yeah, so Alita Battle Angel, which was, what was it? It wasn't James Cameron, it was something Rodriguez. It was James Cameron's script. It was another person's.
Oh, he didn't direct it?
No, it was his script. He didn't have. He
thought he
was
did.
other doing other things, and so he was sitting on the script at the same time with Avatar, and he had to make a decision whether he was going to do Alita Battle Angel, which he had done a really good script supposedly for. It was really big, and he had put a lot of time and effort into it because he really liked the original, like the manga and stuff, and the original AVs, or he does Avatar, and he did Avatar, which for him, luckily panned out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess. But so then he sat on for a while and then eventually gave it to this other guy, Rodriguez, that you know. And so he went through and did it. And his thing is he had a shorter runtime that he was allotted that he could do with. But the script was like 2 or 3 times bigger than that time. So he had to crunch it down and spit it out, It got a lot of shit for it because of the uncanny valley. The main character had big anime eyes, they're bigger than normal, which in the whole grand scheme, once you start watching the movie, you don't fucking notice at all.
Yeah, it goes away real fast.
The one person I think is the worst is when they're doing like a flashback on a character and it's like her like officer lady when they're like climbing up the cables.
Really? You didn't like her?
I thought it was worse. I thought that was the one where it was like that her eyes and her whole stuff
I could see
bugged me more, but I think that's because they spent a lot less time on her to make her not that.
I think one thing that helped that movie is like, although it does have a history of like the previous manga and the AVs and all that or whatever it was.
No one knew shit about it.
Yeah, it was not.
And I
it
think-
wasn't a super huge. Popular, like if they did like Gurren Lagann, there's no way they can get away with that.
Well, no one knew anything about Alita really, other than like a lot of fans and stuff. But I think a really big thing is James Cameron's love for it, because you can tell if you've read the manga and then you watch the movie, like, yeah, things go a bit faster and they do cut out certain things, and timelines are kind of moved around for convenience for a shorter runtime of the movie. But when they put like a lot of the script and a lot of effort into the scenes and stuff like that, you can really tell the love that was put in there, and that they tried their best to keep everything that was in the manga and put it into the movie and still make it work.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a shit show like I don't know, movies.
Full Metal Alchemist.
I haven't watched the movie.
The movie is shit.
Okay.
But it's what you were talking about, where they tried to take everything from the original anime and then put it into the movie, but they did it in such a way that it made the movie terrible.
Yeah, it made it terrible because they didn't care about it.
Yeah.
It is a big thing. Like, or things like movie Aragon.
Yeah, like Alito.
That was a shit movie compared to the book. They did not care about that. It
was a money grab.
It was a money grab.
It had no passion.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's just like, I loved that book and I would have loved to seen it done correctly, but they fucked up with characters. Like, certain characters were supposed to be dead at certain points but other characters came in, were not, and so then like they had these weird interactions that they had to come up with because those characters never actually interacted with each other. There's a lot of other shit, and you could tell that they didn't care. At least Alita, you could tell, tried. And I know not a lot of the people are gonna focus on that, but that's the thing like I liked about it. I did my research. I'm like, well, let's figure out what Alita is, because people are like, I'm like, oh, these uncanny eyes, all this other stuff, it's really bad. I was like, well, I want to read the manga. I'm like, okay, the manga, they did really good aesthetic wise, comparably from Alita to in the manga to Alita in the movie. Yeah, I think
is what I thought was funny when I first saw the trailer, and I was like, that had to have come from a manga or an anime or something.
Yeah,
I was right. Like, in the theater when I first saw the trailer, this was forever ago. First time it was released, I think. I like pulled it up on my phone. I was like, yeah, it's definitely a manga, and I would go to show somebody. Yeah.
No, and I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I hope hope another movie comes out.
Another one that was good, that was based off of a manga that had no history, was it was the one with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Where he went back in
Die Another Day.
Time. Yeah.
Die Another Day. Oh.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Die Another Day is I think is the manga name.
Oh, okay.
So that one was different. The movie was good.
Yeah.
It was based off of a manga. The manga is very different than what the movie was.
Either way, people didn't get upset at the way it was done.
No.
Because it lacked history, that was my point.
Right, yeah.
So, like, it was good. It stood on its own. But you can't do that with something with history like Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I don't know. There's different levels to it.
Bringing it all back around.
Well, that's what the whole point of the conversation.
I guess that's another thing. It's like more recently. It's like Sonic, the movie. It's harder for people right now because it's so well known. But Monster Hunter looks really good. It's being done by Capcom. They have like leaked footage and stuff like that, and it looks really good. I'm like, I really can't wait for that. But that's also another one. I feel like it doesn't have the same knowledge of everyone else doesn't know about it as much as like people know about Sonic.
I think that's probably why the Detective Pikachu is doing so well versus how Sonic is projected to do, because Detective Pikachu is a character with a story that almost no one knows about. Half the people who saw it were like, why can he talk? Why is he a detective? It's like, that's canon. That's from a game. It lacks history.
Well, that, and then yet again, it falls into the same thing with like Alita and stuff. It's like, it was loved a lot. Like, I love reading the articles about the movie. Was like, it's just all about the people working on the movie talking to the Pokemon company and being like, trying to get information like, hey, what about this?
But I think that's how that happens, is like, someone picks up something that they enjoy that doesn't have a history, essentially. So it has to be a passion project. Like, you wouldn't have a money grab if it wasn't something that wasn't popular initially, right? So, like, anytime you get something that's a little bit more obscure as a source, it will almost always do better than something that is popular.
Right. And I like your example of Detective Pikachu, because that really was a passion project. And I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they actually confirmed a 20-year long theory.
Are you talking about the Ditto thing?
Yeah, the Ditto thing.
Okay, have you heard about this?
Have you heard about the Ditto thing?
I still haven't seen the movie. What?
Oh.
Everyone went and saw it without me.
Oh, we'll have to go watch it.
Can we spoil this for you? Do you care?
I do care.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I'll talk about the theory, and then I'll let you watch the movie and kind of pull it from there. The theory of like not considering the movie.
Okay.
So the whole theory, based on like a lot of the video games and stuff like that, is centered around Ditto, where he spawns in games. And he spawns like primarily around where Mewtwo is and where Mew is.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing of like, there's that connection that like Mew is the leftover byproduct of, or Ditto is the leftover byproduct of Mew.
Yeah, I've heard that theory. That theory comes from the games because the only thing that you can breed with a Mew, I think, is a Ditto.
Yeah.
Or no, Ditto and Mew are the only things you can breed with anything.
Yeah. Also, one thing
Colors
that
the
I really
same.
liked is so Red and Green were the original Pokemon games.
Yeah, technically.
It was
yeah.
Red and Green, and then they came out with Yellow afterwards.
There was
And-
also Blue.
Well,
Blue. America got Blue.
there was a
Japan got
very
Green.
small change that they made with Yellow when Yellow came out. But the change with Yellow is they moved the Ditto spawn location, and they specifically moved it to this exact same cave where you find Mewtwo, which is outside of the laboratory with Team Rocket where Mewtwo was created.
Okay.
And all that jazz. So it was a very tiny change when Yellow came out, and everybody was like, what does this mean?
Confirmed.
Ditto must be
Well,
connected
and like
to
a
Mewtwo.
and like a big thing is like the Mewtwo in the movie is the Mewtwo from the game.
That's cool.
It's 100% confirmed. It's also the same Mewtwo from the original Pokemon movie in 2000.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Yeah, so it's like that is the Mewtwo that we see in this movie.
Well, yeah, there is that makes sense because canonically there is only one Mewtwo.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is 20 years after the first game with Mewtwo and everything like that. So
That
it's
just
like
reminded me of something that I think is really cool because I used to watch the show a lot when I was a kid, and that Mewtwo is in the show.
Yeah.
And like, it's pretty cool because like, you see an event that happens. Basically, Mewtwo is escaping in the show, from one perspective, and then in the movie you see it from somebody else's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was like the coolest thing. Like, you get just as much enjoyment whether you only watch the movie or only watch the show. And it was
Yeah.
super
But yeah, so I guess like to know is like when you're watching the movie, like it is taking place 20 years after Mewtwo's original escape.
I like Pokemon lore and I like the Pokemon anime.
Yeah.
I hate the Pokemon games. I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that.
I can't wait for
Heresy.
Sword and Shield.
Our one subscriber just left.
We're not even at a subscriber.
We have -1 subscribers now.
We'll find out. Or we gained a bunch of subscribers. Everyone's like, finally, someone
shit.
understands.
Shit.
Yeah, because that's what we want to be known for: hating Pokemon games.
I'm actually okay. I'm
Especially me.
partially working on a YouTube video, and it is all about
Shitting on Pokemon.
Well, shitting on like that's the idea
shitting
of
on
like
Pokemon in a very calculated way. There is a couple things that I'm looking forward to in the new game. I don't think I am going to play the new game, but I will watch someone play it. But yeah,
I'm gonna play it.
it is open world partially, and that is a major improvement on a lot of products.
Well, especially
that
like
have with Pokemon. So we'll see.
like well, I like the
see.
idea of like you just see the Pokemon roaming around.
That is much better. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty
The fact
stoked
that
for
you
it.
can run into something that's a way higher level than you and get your ass kicked, I like that. I think people should be allowed to fail in video games.
I can appreciate
and
that.
fail in a
Well,
way
especially
that's partially.
But the one thing I'm really annoyed. I tried playing what was it, Sun and Moon. I just could not get into it because you don't have a rival. You have a friend, and it's just like I'm like, well, I have no motivation. Like I don't.
Oh.
This guy's fucking annoying as shit. Get away. Like I hate you. Hate me back.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey,
all right, buddy.
like, hey, let's go on. Let's go to the next island. Let's do something. That's his voice in my
Yeah,
head.
we
He's
talked
fucking
about that a
annoying
little
as shit.
bit. I recently replayed through Alpha Sapphire,
Right.
which I played Emerald, the original Gen 3 game, like all of the time in middle school. That was my jam. And during the remake, they actually decreased the number of battles you have with your quote-unquote rival.
Interesting.
And they actually changed that relationship to have him be like more buddy-buddy. And that's the thing, though. Like, your rival shows up more often just to randomly heal your Pokemon than to challenge you to a fight.
That's annoying.
It heals your Pokemon before you fight them, and
Yeah, and that's the thing though, because like there have been, I specifically remember, I can't remember the trail number, but I was on my way to the 7th gym, and I was really low on resources. I think 3 of my Pokemon had fainted, and I'm like, oh shit, I really just need a Pokestop. I go all the way up to the top of this staircase, and it's my rival, and I'm like, shit, I cannot do a battle right now. And he's just like, oh, you look like you're in dire straits. Here, let me heal your Pokemon, give you a friendly gesture, and just turn the other direction and leave you alone. And I'm like, I wanted that fight.
Yeah.
That would have been so gratifying to go through this long grind and then just finish him off at the very end.
That's one thing that makes Breath of the Wild so good, is like you can fuck yourself over hard. I've run into boss battles in that game with like bombs, like your regular bombs and like 3 arrows, and I'm like, all right, how am I gonna do this? Like,
so I guess like in games where it's like they don't coddle you too much, like
Dark Souls.
yes,
Everything's
yeah.
Dark Souls.
Persona 5.
Oh.
Because Persona 5 is like, there's a deadline, and like you need to get done by this deadline, but there's a bunch of other shit you need to do. Learn how to fucking manage time, and then like you're just like, they're like, here you go. After a certain point, you're like,
yeah,
Didn't
fuck, and then so you're just going and going, and if you don't get what you need to get done by the time limit, it's like, I hope you had a good save file.
Didn't you give up trying to 100% that game because you
I took a break. I missed. I was going through. I was trying to finish all the achievements off in my 4th playthrough. I just decided, I'm like, I really looked. I'm like, all right, I can do this. So I was going through, finishing them all off, and I didn't notice one. And it's like, read all the books. I was like, okay.
Oh right.
And like finish all the missions, all the side missions and stuff like that. And I had missed a side mission that gave me a certain book, and I can only get that book from that side mission. So I'd missed 2 in one go, and it's like towards the end of the game, and I was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, you lose. Like,
I was just like
motivation.
done. Well, then I was like, I'm on my way to finish like 3 others right now with like no issues. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and finish the game now. I mean, I haven't picked it up since I decided that, but I'm like, I'll finish the game from this point without completing those other ones. So then I have at least more than just 2 fucking just do this one mission.
Yeah.
Shit, you know.
I just remembered something. We didn't finish our other conversation.
Nope. I was actually gonna eventually try to bring it back.
Let's bring it back now.
Well, I guess like let's kind of because we've been going for a while. Let's kind of like hit the end point of, I guess what we're doing is we talked about the situation, like we failed, and we have someone here who's succeeded in something, and we've talked about like why we failed. But I guess if someone would say, Dominic, sir, please, how can I not fail at my endeavors?
Please, sir, may I have some more?
I mean, based on your experiences, what would you tell me?
I have 2 things to say to that.
Master Dominic.
1, trust other people to get things done.
Oh my god, yes.
Find people who are competent and to trust them to achieve. And that's my major issue is I think I don't trust people enough. So that's what causes me to put work on myself. And I think the reason this project is going to be more successful is because Dylan's going to be doing most of the work.
Okay, so I guess that's 1. What's 2?
That was the 2, is that Dylan's going to be doing most of the work.
Look, man, my back's gonna get real tired carrying this shit.
Hey, I've offered several times. You've not said a single
Actually,
word. I'm like, I will edit like a portion of these videos if you need to.
Good.
I actually do think I am still putting too much on myself. And then you brought it up earlier today that you wanted to do more, and I need to find something like that will make it even. Because like I said, I would take care of basically all of the distribution and logistics. And I'm like, I'm glad you brought up this as a subject because it gives me a reason to not do that so much.
It's like therapy.
So I think we should have a discussion about who can do what, and I will try to trust you guys to do your thing.
I like that. Flip it on your head. You answer your own question now.
So I guess the reason why this, like, if I were to tell somebody, like, they're like, how do I actually finish a project? How do I get into it? How do I keep into it? I think a big thing is don't look for some end, like, goal. Don't look for gratification for other people as actually being like, don't look for it. If it comes your way, great. That's going to be awesome. You're going to feel great about it. But once you start really trying to look for it, if it doesn't come, that's when things start to crumble. And I think that can really destroy people's motivations when you don't get acknowledged. 'Cause we all want to be acknowledged in some way or another. We want to have someone say, hey, I like your shirt. Hey, how are you doing today? The simplest things can really make people's day. I mean, my biggest thing if I see someone get a haircut or someone get a new shirt, if something new about somebody, I'm like, oh, hey, did you get a haircut? Nice. And I mean, people feel really enjoyable, but I know when, like, I get a haircut, things change about me and no one notices. I kind of feel...
You get a little demotivated?
Yeah, a little demotivated. I'm like, what was even the point? And I kind of go in expecting those things because I'm make sure to point those out, and I realize, like, not everyone is like that same thing with me, but if you're not really looking for it and you're doing it for the fun of it and you're doing it just to create content to hopefully someone out there else will see it, whether they acknowledge you or not, like, that should be, like, your goal is just to make what you want, get it out there, and have fun with it.
Yeah.
And then if someone along the way picks it up and enjoys it too, then great. I mean, that's awesome. Now I know that's sometimes hard for people who want to, like, profit off of things and stuff like that, and I don't think that's what this answer's for.
I feel like people who go out who set out specifically to make a profit have to expect failure, and they have to expect to do more work than somebody who's doing it for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with
Right.
that.
But it's like this type of thing. It's like, we're not looking for any money right now. Like, this is purely, I would imagine, just more of a passion thing. Like, we want to talk.
I like podcasts.
Yeah, we like podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I want to just talk about things, and I feel
so many podcasts.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, that doesn't make us experts in anything, and we're not experts in anything. We're very close to, I guess, a lot of things. We have a wide array of things that we can bullshit talk about.
To be fair, I was recently given the title expert in all things fucky.
Well, I mean, me and Dominic between us know everything, and what he doesn't know, I know. What I don't know, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
But never at the same time, because if he doesn't know it, I probably won't know it at that moment.
Yeah,
But he'll know it later.
But no, yeah, I agree. I like learning. I like learning new things and trying out new things. And if you're coming from a point of passion, it's just like, hey, if you're having fun along the way, sure. Acknowledgement and gratification is definitely important, but if you enjoy something, you put the work into it, it'll come naturally. Like, I can't remember the saying, I'm going to butcher this, but it's like, follow your passions and eventually your passions will become your career, or something along those lines.
Basically, yeah. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly. So,
I think...
Also, one other thing, just based off of your guys' conversation, fucking advertisement.
Advertisement?
Like, pitch to your friends.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Absolutely.
family members, the creepy guy down the hallway that always yells about domestic abuse.
I have like, so as much as I love being praised, I have a fear of being told that someone doesn't like something I do. I actually have trouble talking to people on the phone because of that, because I'm worried someone's gonna be like, you're stupid. I don't know why. I just recently started trying to make online friends. I've never made online friends in my life. It's weird. I'm really good face to face. I'm really good through text. I have so much trouble speaking to people if I can't see them.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
See, I don't have I think, like, during my Xbox days, like Xbox 360, playing Halo and a lot of stuff like that, like, I just made a lot of, like, online friends through that. I'd be like, get on, and I'd be like, hey, like, it's just like, get on a chat thing, and everyone's like, so I'm fine with those types of situations. Yeah, honestly, it's like, because I think with those, it's easier just to be a different person and just be like, this is me for those types of friends and stuff like that. And it's like, I enjoy that type of thing and have that separation.
I'm also pretty quiet, so, like, that doesn't help. It's like, if I'm trying to make friends online, I will be quiet most of the time.
Right. I also think so. Another thing I want to add, I think, be aware of the boring, dirty work of whatever your project may be. Like, don't expect it to just be like this. It's like, don't expect just to sit around a couple mics, talk for a bit, and then that be it. Like, there's going to be some editing. There's going to be
boring parts.
Yeah, there's going to be boring parts. And I mean, that may last longer because you're going to have to listen through it all. You're going to have to maybe once or twice, you're going to have to edit things in and out. If it's going to be a manga or something like that, like, you can't just like, boom, draw the manga and post it and it's like be done. Like, there's going to have to be a lot of more steps and more of that dirty work to get to that final project of really whatever you're going to do. There's research, there's drawing and redrawing and several steps that goes in till you hit that final project. So if you're looking just for something quick and easy, that's also not what I think these types of projects should be.
I heard a quote from a manga artist, and he said the thing that makes an amateur different from a professional is a professional is willing to do the work until it's finished.
Right.
So
I like that. That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, I think that's a good end note. So, thanks for listening, all of us from the Nog Podcast. Hope you will join us for our next episode.
Oh, yeah, always rate and subscribe and comment in any way you can.
Thumbs up. Smash that like button.
Validation is good.
Give us 5 stars on your thing. Leave us comments.
If you have AOL discs, I'll take those.
AOL disc. Add me on MySpace.
Oh, do you have an AIM?
AIM?
Oh, man.
What's
I want
AIM?
now.
I think it's like, he's like, I'm the old one at the beginning of the episode, and then I just bring up AIM. He's like, what's